Hey guys, good afternoon. How are you? I hope you are enjoying your weather on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in Chicago and keeping your spirits up as well, we pray. My name is Joni. I am the founder and host of Seek and Sip Travel, and I'm also the host of our Seek and Sip channel, The Perfect Sip. So, for you guys who don't know us, who aren't familiar, you're just joining our family. Seek and Sip Travel is a wine and spirits travel company, and we're dedicated to traveling the world searching for the perfect sip. So each Sunday, 6 p.m., we come on and we talk about the intersection between travel, wine, spirits. Sometimes I bring my cool friends on so they can talk about spirits or wine that they really like. Ever so often, we get a real treat because we get a brand ambassador in. And if you're not familiar, a brand ambassador is just the one who's specially selected by a wine or spirit brand to promote and sell their labels, their spirits, if you will. So today I have a very special treat for you guys. We are going to go to Ireland. So if you're very familiar with Ireland, even if you've never been there before, plenty of YouTube videos, plenty of Google stock images, plenty of stories, I'm sure, of people who've been there before and can show you some really awesome. But I can't do it justice because, admittedly, I've never been to Ireland before. But I'm going to introduce you to someone who's not only been to Ireland, but she's also the national brand ambassador, or the brand ambassador, I'll say. I'm speaking something into existence for her, giving her a little raise there, if you will. But she is the brand ambassador. She's the Irish, the single malt and Irish whiskey ambassador for Slane whiskey, Irish whiskey. Kayla, I am sure I butchered all of that, so I'm going to ask you to clean that up for me a little bit. And I'm going to get you to come on, and then we're going to introduce you, and you have a little short video for us, and we're going to show that. So, hey, Kayla, how are you?
Hi, Joni. Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. The weather was nice today, so.
It was a little breezy, but I'll take it. I'll take anything besides that rain.
Right.
So, Kayla, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, you were pretty much right, Joni. I'm the Brown Forman Irish whiskey and single malt brand ambassador for Chicago. So, Brown Forman, I've worked with them for about 3 years now. For a long time, I worked on our bourbons, which some of you probably know, Woodford Reserve, Old Forester. As a company, we also own Jack Daniel's. So these are kind of maybe some brands you haven't seen before, but they're in our family and we love them. So I'm excited to show you some Slane today. But as Joni was saying, I think I saw on the email that she sent out, it was so lovely. I've been in the hospitality industry for a little over 10 years in some capacity. I started bartending in college just to kind of make money, pay my way through school, have something to do. And it kind of became the love of my life. It was a way to do something creative that I was very passionate about. And it made me a little more money than being a musician. So that's kind of how I fell into this. I worked at a couple of places in Chicago and a couple of nonprofits. I've always been in that kind of sector. And then I found my way to Brown Forman about 3 years ago. I haven't left. Don't plan to.
Nice. Well, welcome. I know this is your first time on Seek and Sip Travel. We're doing something a little bit new with virtual tastings because technically we're in phase 2, phase 3 for some of us. So we're still in sheltered in status. So normally we would be out and about kind of commingling, but this is the way we do virtual tastings now. And it's not a bad format, I have to admit. So this is our new normal now, huh?
Yeah, hopefully, as we go in the next couple of months, maybe we can do some small things.
I know. So tell us a little bit about Slane. So I did a little bit of research. I'm definitely interested to know about the triple cask because I understand your third cask is a sherry cask.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, I took a little nip a couple days ago just to kind of get a feel of what the whiskey was on its own without anything else. and it's delicious. The
Oh, good.
more
I'm glad you.
that I didn't neat, so no ice, no water, anything. And then I took a little sip, left it on the counter, kind of ran around, threw some clothes in the dryer and everything, tied it up, came back to it. And the way that it just opened up was so amazing. Just layers and layers upon complex flavors and notes in the whiskey. So I'm very excited to hear about the way that they make it. And then we're going to jump into just some general talk about Ireland, and then we're going to start on our cocktails.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned opening up to whiskey in general. I love to let it open up and see as it changes. Every whiskey is so different. But Slane is a triple cask maturation, like you were saying. So we're a blended Irish whiskey, and we use a virgin cask, which is just a brand new oak cask. We use a seasoned cask. And Brown Forman, as a company, we make all of our own casks for Jack Daniel's, Old Forester, Woodford, all of our brands. So we do use barrels within our own family. And then for our sherry cask, we do use Oloroso sherry cask from Jerez. So that's what I like to talk about with opening up with sherry, because it is a fortified wine. So it really does well in any sort of maturation if you have that fortified wine cask to let it open up a little bit, and it just changes it. So for an Irish whiskey, it's, that's not unheard of, but it's pretty rare to have that triple cask maturation. So it just has a little more flavor. That virgin oak gives those vanillas, those spices, and then the seasoned oak as well. And then we get that kind of nutty, dark note that I love with Oloroso sherry in it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, I think that was another reason, because, at the very heart of my heart, at the core of who I am and what I do, I love wine. But it's something about when a spirit company decides to use the wine influence that really just kind of, man, it just does it for me. It really does. So when I tasted the Slane, the first layer of notes I got was definitely the caramel, the little bit of like pumpkin spice, a little bit. Definitely a little touch of vanilla in there as well. But then when I came back to it, took a sip, sat with it a little bit, I was doing some reading, and then the raisin notes started coming in. So definitely from the Amarone influence from the wine. It was just amazing, like stewed plums almost too, kind of like a dessert plum was in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, it was so good. That's just made me even more excited to get on here and make these cocktails for real. So I'm going to play your quick video.
Yes, please.
Has a really good, cool treat for us today. So, and maybe I'll just jump back into that with you. So with Slane being made in Ireland, Ireland is known for a lot of things. But when most people think about Ireland, of course, they think of the luck of the Irish. They think about the green landscape. A lot of people really don't talk about the castles, though. And in my research, Ireland has quite a few castles. They're really very well preserved, older castles, medieval time castles as well. And it was just amazing just looking at so many of those beautiful castles. There's one that was right on the cliff. I cannot remember. It just escaped me where that castle was, but literally it looks out over the Atlantic Ocean. Gorgeous. So if you're into castles, definitely you want to make sure that you scoot on over to Ireland. You definitely want to take a look there and see, if there's anything that you can discover outside of the pubs, and of course Guinness beer. So you know that it's the home of Guinness beer. So if you're a big fan of stout beer, things like that, you definitely want to get over there and take a look there as well. Okay. So with Slane, I'm gonna show the quick video of the castle, and then maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the castle as well. Sound fair?
Sure. Yeah, sounds great.
All right, I'm going to play the video. Give me one moment, guys. Of course, I am still a one-woman show. Oh, please.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, perfect. Oh, it was so pretty. I think I want to kind of go back a little bit because I missed something. Oh wow, the courtyard.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
It is beautiful.
So this is my truth. I have not yet been to the castle or the distillery, but I feel like I have, just living like vicariously through all my colleagues and friends that have been. Hopefully we can all take a trip when we can get on a plane again soon.
Hopefully. Yeah, so I was just looking, and I see that the easiest way probably to get to Slane, if you wanted to go to visit the distillery, they do have a distillery that's open to the public. You can also take tours of the castle that you just saw. So it's a really fun way to kind of make a day out of it. It's only like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour drive north of Dublin. So of course you can just fly into Dublin, bop around in Dublin for a little bit, and then rent a car and maybe just be on your way up there towards Slane and just hang out with them and drink iced Irish coffee cocktails. Say that 6 times real fast. There. So let's do this. Let's get into our cocktails, and then we can just kind of chit chat a little bit more. So tell us about the cocktail that we're going to make today.
Yeah, so we are going to do an iced Irish coffee in lieu of a hot one, because we're all hoping that summer's right around the corner and we're going to get some more warm weather.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a really easy cocktail to make, and I love it because, like Bloody Marys or other kind of brunch-focused cocktails, you can really modify it to be what you want it to be. So at its base, we're Irish whiskey, cream, and coffee. So if you want to do a hot variation, it's a really simple go-to, kind of switch over from the cold brew. And then, like most cocktail origin stories, the truth is probably not as exciting as the stories we come up with. So there's a few different stories of this cocktail. One is in 19th century France. We were talking about spirits and coffee together as a Gloria. And then a couple of other things in the 1950s. Many credit Joe Sheridan. He was a chef at the Foynes Air Base in Limerick, Ireland, one of the counties there. And then there's another story about a soldier during World War II putting whiskey into coffee for his fellow troops to keep them awake during the night. So there's so many stories, but it's been around at least since the 1940s we know of, in written book. So this is it's one of my favorite riffs. Somebody that's very close to me is kind of a mentor, taught me how to make this variation of it. But yeah, it's just cream, Irish whiskey, coffee, and you can kind of add your flavors that you want. My preferred ones are cardamom and orange. I think they're really delicious, especially with Slane, to kind of bring out all those cask flavors.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I was going to say, that when I saw your recipe, the cardamom, yeah, I can see where we're going with that. But the orange zest was really kind of surprised me, because it's just not something that you see a lot in Irish coffee. But that's your brilliance, I'm thinking. So I'm really excited to do this. Irish coffees, like you said, in the summertime, I have to have my coffee every day. I'm totally addicted. Probably will be until I leave this earth. It's what it is. And in the summertime, it gets so hot. The last thing that you want to do is drink piping hot coffee. So a coffee is perfect because it's great in the morning. I think it's if you kind of like the recipe that you're giving us now, I think this will be a great after dinner kind of dessert, if you will. If you have like vanilla wafers or maybe vanilla shortbread cookies or something like that, this will be amazing with that. So I'm so excited to see that. And then I always say, and even the tails before, correct, Kayla?
Yes, yeah.
New Orleans. So do you get the iced coffee at the bar in the French
Yes.
Square?
In those, what is it called? Is it the Irish Rose?
Aaron Rose.
Aaron Rose, yep.
Aaron Rose. So although, Aaron Rose is I always go when it's early, because if you go when everyone starts wanting it, then it gets a little, the texture is different. But I don't care. I get Aaron Rose iced coffee, and then I walk down. I can't remember the street. I can't remember the name of the street. To go back, but I go to Cafe Beignet and grab a bag of beignets, and I'm good for the whole morning. Okay, that's what I love. And so let's get going, because I'm so excited to try this. So what should we do first?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I want to touch on, whether you're going to do this cardamom orange riff or if you're just going to go classic, let's focus on our light whipped cream first. So light whipped cream is literally just not all the way fluffy. So you want to get it to kind of a nice viscous, little texture to it, but not those kind of whipped mountains that we think of with whipped cream. So the easiest way to do that, if you have a bowl, go ahead and tuck it in your freezer now. If you're going to use a whisk, or if you have an immersion blender, you can use whatever. Even one of these like protein shakers, you can go ahead and put it in there and just, that's if you're really missed your workout or something, that's going to be a little bit more effort. But I'm going to grab my bowl.
Well, I put my shaker in the freezer, took the shaker out and left the cream in there. So it's nice and cold, so it should give me nice stiff peaks.
That's good too. I mean, you want to just have it, the goal with the light whipped cream is that you can still pour it over the top of your cocktail. So I just use a metal bowl, metal whisk. You can use the protein shaker. You can use an immersion blender. And with this method, we don't need to add sugar. We're not really trying to make it sweet. We're just trying to make light whipped cream. So I already have some set aside that I made, but just if you're, following along and you're following Joni, it took me about maybe 2 minutes to get it to the consistency I want.
Okay. Well, I have an immersion blender.
That'll be easy.
Too often, unless I'm making roasted veggie soup in the wintertime. So this is the only time I really use it. So I'm excited today.
Good. Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't really use mine for much. So like Joni's using the immersion blender. It's just a little bit easier. It's a little bit faster. If you have nothing else, I mean, these protein shakers are just great at-home bar tools too. If you don't have a cocktail shaker, or if you don't have a stirrer, that's always what when somebody has some in a cabinet somewhere they haven't used for a year,
That's good. That's a good little, that's a good trick, especially like if you're traveling and you want to make something really quick on the road. It's one of the things that I use when I'm traveling around. I take a little shaker, a shaker container like that. My vitamins are pureed like powder, so I have to immerse it, multiply it with juice or something like that, and then like protein shakes and things like that. So yeah, that's a good too. That's a good little tip there.
Yeah, it's just a nice. You got to be, resourceful during these times, and you can't make it out of the house too often.
Absolutely.
And then with the whipped cream, you can add your cardamom straight to it if that's the flavor you want. I mean, nutmeg is beautiful in it. You can kind of add any ground spice to it once you've got it to the consistency you want, or you can add it on top after we put it over the cocktail.
Okay, that's still pretty loose. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer.
I'm gonna grab mine as well.
Can you pre-whip this? Have you ever pre-whipped it before?
Yeah, it gets, if it gets a little loose in the fridge after you do it, you can just kind of whip it a little bit again.
Okay.
But yeah, you just kind of want it to be like that consistency where after you drink it, it leaves a little bit of foam on your mouth. Kind of like a little milk mustache. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let it go one more time, then we can move on.
Okay. Yeah, and this will go on last, so if you need more time following along with Joni, we can go back to it at the end. The nice thing about the iced coffee version is that we don't need to worry about it getting cold.
Yeah, I think we're cooking, baby.
Yay. And then, so when we're talking about building the Irish coffee, I'm just using this kind of stemmed glass. If you want, I really love ice in almost any drink I have. I like my temperatures extreme one way or another. So you can just use a glass too, a tall glass, and add ice to it, kind of whatever you want it to be. And then, so after we get our cream whipped, I'm going to add an ounce of Slane to my glass, just straight into the glass, and then I'm going to add a half ounce of, I have a Demerara syrup. So Demerara is just kind of like what it'd be like a turbinado sugar in the raw, those big, thick brown sugar crystals. Demerara is just the region it's from. And this is a build cocktail. So when we do a hot version, we do the same thing. We can just pour our hot coffee straight over the sugar, whether it's, and we do simple syrups or Demerara syrups, complex syrups to add water, because we know that alcohol and sugar does not dissolve well in alcohol, but it dissolves well in water. So that's just why we're adding water to our syrup.
I had to bop off camera for a second. I knew I was forgetting something. I'm like, something's missing. Where's my sugar? How much sugar did we use again?
I use a half ounce. And the nice thing, and the nice thing about these cocktails, like I said, if you decide you need it to be sweeter later, you can always kind of add it in and incorporate it. But a half ounce is a good start, because that's really the only place we're going to have sugar in this cocktail, since we didn't add any to our cream. And give it a good mix. Put it in there.
Let's see. Is that is this one?
And then I'm using a cold brew. You can go ahead, if you're caffeine sensitive, or if you want to have this late at night and don't want the caffeine, decaf is obviously great. You can use espresso. I just have a nice cold brew that I like. But literally any ice, you can use iced coffee instead of a cold brew, because that cold brew is high octane. There's a lot of caffeine.
So how much cold brew are we pouring in?
So this, I just did about 3 ounces. You just kind of want to fill your glass up until the point that there's maybe about a ½ inch to put your cream over the top.
Got it. Yeah, a little bit more. I didn't have my coffee today, so.
Oh, this is perfect then.
And then mix.
And then once we've got our coffee in, you want to probably give it another little stir to make sure your sugar is incorporated. And at this point, if you want, bartender trick, just go ahead and taste it before you add anything that needs to be, before we put our cream on. See if it's the right sweetness for you. I think that's perfect.
I think it's good for me. So guys, if you ever see your bartender dip their spoon in your drink like that, leave.
Yeah. If you see it should be straw.
Bartenders know that.
Yeah, they're just slurping out of the spoon.
I know.
And then, so I have my pre-whipped cream. I put my cardamom in it. Don't feel like you have to do any sort of spice if you just want that normal flavor. But the trick here is to use this. You can use a bar spoon is your best bet. Any kind of small spoon. Turn it upside down so that the concave part is up on top. and you're going to just pour your cream over the back of the spoon and let it incorporate into the cocktail.
Oh yeah, yours is way stiffer than mine.
Yeah,
That's good.
This
I'm the travel expert. She's the bartender. That's why.
Yeah, together we're doing it.
We make it work together.
Yes. So even if yours is a little light, just because of the density difference, it should still float to the top.
This is like magic. It's all staying to the top. I thought it would have sunk to the bottom.
I know. That's the beauty when you finally get to make cocktails at home, which a lot of people that I talk to now are, experimenting for the first time. It does feel like magic the first time before you know exactly what's going on. Okay. And then if you want to do some orange, you could, if you don't want to actually have orange in your drink, I have a really fine microplane, kind of a zester. So the actual amount of orange that I get in there, I won't even notice the actual texture. But if you want, you can also peel the orange and just zest it over the top. But I'm just going to do a tiny bit over the top. And that is my Slane Irish coffee. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Well, I'm extra. One of my mamas is from New Orleans. The other one is from Mobile. My dad is from Greenport, Mississippi as well. So we're Gulf people. We don't know what it is to hold back. So everything we eat, we love hard, and here we are. So I'm extra. I want extra orange zest.
I love it. I like extra cardamom, so I'm going to follow your lead.
I'm so excited. So then we just do the cardamom on top because I didn't put it in the whipped cream.
Yeah, and nutmeg, hazelnut are common ones. I love cardamom. I think it just blends well to a lot of things, but specifically Irish whiskey, especially Slane.
So I'm going to invoke a little bit of emerald. Bam!
Kick it up a notch.
I should have warned you. I'm extremely silly, so.
Oh, I love it, Joni. We all need that right now.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. It's so pretty.
Yeah, and you made it, and it's so easy, and you can, wow your friends and family. It's nice. We're talking about Father's Day next week. It's just a really easy thing to put together.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm loving it. So cheers. We're going to take a sip together.
Yeah, and so in Ireland, we say sláinte.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Sláinte.
Sláinte, okay. Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. I take my first before I mess it up. I'm again extra. I gotta turn my mat over. So I gotta do you guys proud. Yes.
What do you think?
Where's your mustache?
Oh yeah, I gotta.
There it is. It is delicious. It is so good, and even with the addition of the sugar, it didn't take away from the whiskey at all. Well, I put an extra shot in mine. I didn't tell you that though, but it did. I told you.
And you can adjust the amount of whiskey. Usually, up to 2 ounces. You want to drink responsibly, but you can add more or less, or it's pretty flexible.
It's amazing. I love it. And the whiskey, like you said, you can add more if you want to, but I mean, even just like this, it's perfect. It is so good, guys. You really, 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 really want to download the recipe. I'm not playing, and really try this iced Irish coffee. It is delicious. It is super simple. I think we were only doing this for 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Simple, it's really affordable. It's really good, high quality. And I'm telling you, you will definitely impress your dinner guests with that. Or, I don't know, just make yourself one after a long, hard day.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, Kayla, tell us, when you're done and our shelter in place is lifted, where are you going? What's your dream destination?
Oh my gosh, I'm not even just saying this because of right now. I cannot wait to go to Scotland. I have not been yet, and you know, our scotches in our portfolio that I represent just are perfect. The distilleries look beautiful. That's high on my list, number one for sure.
I agree. That area of Europe is one I haven't really really taken the time to really explore. But I think after, of course, everything with COVID, I kind of really made a promise to myself that I would really reach out a lot further and just try to hit those destinations that are kind of like bucket list destinations. So a lot of people, I mean, it's easy for us to get to the Caribbean. It's easy for us to go on vacation to Mexico, but exploring those areas, I definitely want to get to Iceland, see the Northern Lights and things like that. Just making sure that we make time for those destinations and those vacations. Did you know, by the way, that Americans are horrible at taking their vacation time?
I did know that. Believe it or not, in the hospitality industry, we don't often have it in restaurants, or we just don't take it.
It's so funny because the rest of the world thinks we're crazy because they're like, you just work. You don't take any time off to be with your family. You don't take any time off to be just within, just kind of slow yourself down. And I don't know, we've got to change that. We got to be nicer to ourselves, right?
We do. We need the downtime, and hopefully, there's a new normal after this, and we can all have a little more downtime. I think, got a little recharge, hopefully, in some way.
I agree. And just think about all the money you're leaving on the table. It's crazy, so it's like, take the vacations, pick a far-flung destination and go, save your money, adjust your budget as much as you can. I know that, we're coming out of everything with COVID and everyone hasn't gone back to work. So I definitely don't want to be insensitive. But once you kind of get everything back on track, make sure that you have a savings account. I have a cookie fund. So when I get paid, I take a little bit of money, I put it in that account. Birthdays, if I get unexpected blessings from somewhere, it goes in that account. And you'll be surprised how quickly that money builds up over a year or two. It'll at least pay for plane tickets, so you won't have to worry about that. So that's my travel tip for today's show as well. And then I don't see any questions coming in, which is fine. So I am going to let you go, Kayla. I know that you're busy. You have things that you're doing. So I tell you what, unless you just want to hang out, we actually have 15 more minutes. So you know what? I have a question.
Yeah, I say I'm fine. You're my knight.
What other cocktails would you do with Slane whiskey besides this one? I'm going to sip on my iced coffee.
Yeah, well, I think I always revert to the classics just because they're classics for a reason, but they also are delicious and easy to make. So I really do love a Slane Old Fashioned. So just the same way you'd make it with bourbon. I just use a little bit. You can use this Demerara syrup. You can use simple syrup, a little bit of orange, a little bit of lemon. That's it. Slane on the rocks is great too. Let's see. I also like, Joni, I'd love to send you too. We have a lot of different cocktail recipes. And I'd just love to send them to you to share with everybody if you'd like.
That would be great. I thought so. I peeked the ones that was on the webpage. The Slane website, amazing. So yes, I'm going to say yes to all of that. I would love to, and then get those circulated out to everyone as well, so they can enjoy them.
Yeah. And Irish whiskey is so, I think when I think about my first introduction to whiskey, it was Irish whiskey. It's very approachable. It's very versatile. It lends well in a lot of different classic cocktails that call for whiskey. Just tweaking it a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of famous Irish whiskeys out there that I think a lot of people, that was their first time they had whiskey, was Irish whiskey. And Ireland has vastly small, much less distilleries than America does right now. But Irish whiskey's consistently been one of the fastest growing spirits in the world year after year. So those 25 to 30 distilleries in Ireland are chugging along making whiskey, as opposed to America. We have 1,500 or more right now.
I know, that's crazy, right? So many of them here. You wouldn't think it would be that many, because a lot of them, am I correct in saying that most of them would be concentrated like in the whiskey bourbon area? So not Nashville, Kentucky, Tennessee area, maybe some places in the South as well.
Yeah, so over 90% of the world's bourbon definitely comes from Kentucky. And bourbon can be made anywhere in the United States, but Kentucky just has that beautiful water. But a large portion of whiskey, American whiskey, also comes out of Indiana. There's a massive distillery there that produces whiskeys for a lot of really great brands. And then Brown-Forman, all of our whiskeys are made in Kentucky or Nashville, or outside of Nashville, or Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That 1,500, huh? I didn't think it would be that high. I never knew it was that many. I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know it was that many.
There's so many small craft distilleries, which is beautiful. There's so many great, somebody wanted to start making whiskey and they started up, which is the dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Wow. You know what? I'm going to say thank you so much for showing us how to make these wonderful cocktails. It's delicious. I have a feeling that I'm going to be pouring the Slane quite frequently, and definitely will be ordering it from the my neighborhood beverage shop as well. It's a fine product. You guys did really well with this one. So good. Thank you so much for being with us. I really do appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you and everybody tuning in. And yeah, always reach out. I'm here. I'm in Chicago, and I love talking about whiskey and cocktails. So don't be shy.
Okay, I'm going to take a look and see if we have any questions from the viewers. Of course, I have to get up, guys. Again, a one-woman show. Let's see what the comments are saying. Let's see. We have Caroline. Ariel says, hey. Janine says,
Ariel.
Very good whiskey. Matisha says, great after dinner drink. Ariel is very impressed with my stick blender.
That's high praise.
So we do have a question. Sheila wants to know, Kayla, is Irish whiskey good in hot coffee as well?
Oh, yeah. And I actually, this is delicious, but I prefer it in hot coffee. And when you do a hot coffee, Irish coffee, you can just throw like a nice scoop of packed brown sugar in there, even easier than making a simple syrup, and it'll dissolve with that hot coffee. It's so good. Delicious.
Yeah, I knew the answer to that. I just didn't want to say anything.
I know you know.
Of course, it's delicious all the way around. I can see why even the heat of the coffee would really amplify the notes in the whiskey. So I'm going to say, when you're doing coffee, to just start out the same way as we did with the iced coffee. So kind of back off the sugar a little bit and just kind of add it to your taste, just to see, because some people's sweet palate is a little bit higher than others. So some people may want a little bit more sugar. But I just feel like try it without so much sugar. Definitely no flavored creamer, guys. So if you're going to do this, you want to do like half and half or heavy whipped cream, just something really neutral. So no flavored coffees. Let the flavor of the whiskey really shine through. And that's all I have to say about that.
You are correct, as always.
Well, again, Kayla, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's not going to be your last time joining us. We would love to have you back. We can do another cocktail if you like.
Oh, yeah. I'll be back.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. Well, guys, we have come to the end of our show, The Perfect Sip. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight, making us a special part of your Sunday evening. If you want the recipe, I will post this recipe on our webpage and also on our social media pages as well. You can download that recipe, go grab the items that you need, come back to the video whenever you like, and then you'll know how to make your Irish iced coffee. I swear it's like a tongue twister. You'll know exactly how to make your Irish iced coffee with Slane whiskey, okay? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us again. Be blessed, be safe, love on each other a whole lot during these times. And I'll see you guys back here next Sunday at 6 p.m. Bye.
Bye.